Have you ever found yourself giving absolutely everything that you can in a relationship? And not only that, but you're also humble enough to admit that you can be better for the person, right? And it's not just a matter of being better for the person, it's also a matter of being better for you. It's a whole well-rounded thing of your capacity to be better as a person, which obviously positively affects you as an individual, but then also positively affects your relationships, right? But no matter how much you give, it's not good enough. It's not enough, right? And so maybe then you give everything you can, you do your absolute best in the relationship, right? And the person still leaves you, right? And so the fascinating thing about this is that maybe that experience or multiple experiences like that kind of lead you to think that there has to be something wrong with you, right? It's you, right? It has to be you. What else could it be? This is not the first time that a person has left you, right? Maybe you're wrong in the sense that, like, it's been you from the beginning and that there's something wrong with you and that you are bad or you're defective. In fact, maybe you start to go back to your trauma from childhood, right? Maybe something happened in your childhood that planted an idea in your mind from a very early age that there's something wrong with you, that you are bad, that you are inherently defective, right? And so therefore, you really go into it and you start to believe that you are bad, that there is something wrong with you, that you are inherently defective, that you could give so much in a relationship, go above and beyond and everything. And not only that, but also be humble enough to recognize that you can be better as a person for this person, right? Maybe you've done things in the relationship that have hurt the person, not intentionally, but that have, right? But you also had the humbleness and the responsibility and accountability to accept your shit and to take fault for your wrongdoings and apologize and everything. And that's great. And it's really important to be able to do that as an individual, especially in a relationship, because taking responsibility and accountability are signs of maturity, right? That's very important, right? But it still just isn't enough. It's still not good enough. It still just doesn't work. The person still leaves, right? So then you really start to think, wow, this is me, isn't it? This is about me. This is who I am. People leave me, right? What's fascinating about this is that there are multiple things about this that are absolutely crucial to look at, right? The first thing that I'm going to talk about here, because I'm not going to say that it's that the person that is putting in absolutely everything has no faults, right? Everyone has flaws. Everyone has faults. Everyone is a human. Everyone has the capacity to suck shit and therefore with that do things in their relationships that cause the person that they're in a relationship with to dislike them or dislike something about them, right? And that's just the way that it is. We are not free of that. We are humans. There is no such thing as perfection in any given human being. It's just not real. It does not exist. So for anyone to think that, oh, I just need to become perfect and I need to never make a mistake, no, it's not real. It's important to take responsibility and accountability for your words and actions, period. Apologize and fucking mean it. But now for me to explore the first thing here that I want to look at. Whenever I hear that somebody has given absolutely everything that they can in a relationship, the first thing that I think about is boundaries. More so either a lack thereof altogether or permeable boundaries. Definitely not healthy boundaries. Somebody who gives absolutely everything that they can in a relationship, that to me is usually a red flag and an indicator that they lack healthy boundaries, that they want the person to like them or to love them or to approve of them or to validate them, this, that, and the other, the whole 9 yards, right? If there are a lack of healthy boundaries in any given relationship, it doesn't matter whether it's platonic or romantic, any given relationship that lacks healthy boundaries is probably going to experience some level of turbulence, right? And that's just the way that it is. And so, boundaries are the very first thing that I would look at, period, right? The next thing that I would look at, I mean, I'm really just trying to look at two serious things that I would look at here. It's absolutely, and I'm still learning about this, but it is absolutely mind-blowing how much healthy boundaries can transform a relationship. However, not everyone has healthy boundaries, and not everyone likes healthy boundaries. If you're dealing with somebody that is just flat out fucking abusive, they're probably with you because you lack healthy boundaries, and therefore they're able to more easily take advantage of you and just continue abusing you, and that's just the way that it is. But the other thing to look at is that, when a person thinks that they are bad, thinks that there's something wrong with them, or thinks that they are inherently defective because their relationships don't work out because they give absolutely everything that they can, they really go above and beyond, and they have a willingness to be even better at that point, right? That's important. That is all important. When you lack healthy boundaries, it makes that dynamic more fucked up, though, and that's important to note. Now, let me just say this. If you know a person's history, right, you might think, until you know their history, or if you're just not, like, if for some reason you're just not focused on their history, you can think that you're bad. You can think that there's something wrong with you. You can think that you're inherently defective and that's why people leave you, right? And by the way, if you do have severely unhealthy behaviors, that's probably why people leave you. Whether platonic or romantic, that's probably why people leave you. But this video is not about the people who exhibit severely dysfunctional and unhealthy behaviors. This video is about the people who probably do have permeable boundaries, and that is an unhealthy characteristic, but they really are willing to be better. And when I say that, I mean not just like improve their relationships, but also go to therapy and improve themselves, which then improves their relationships, right? They have the willingness to be better. And because of that, it doesn't fucking make sense to them when people leave them, whether platonic or romantic, but in this case, usually romantic, right? And so, is it really that confusing? There's something else that I would look at, and it's not just boundaries. Look at this person's past, or multiple people's past, right? If multiple people are leaving you, look at their fucking past. Patterns of behavior, especially and specifically in relationships, do not fucking lie, and they are usually an indicator of somebody's dysfunctional and traumatizing childhood, right? What do humans do until we maybe, and I mean maybe, change them? We fucking repeat patterns like it's our fucking full-time job. We are fucking, we're just behavioral. That's what we do. We do things. We repeat patterns, right? So if you think that there's something wrong with you, if you think that you're bad, if you think that you're inherently defective, and that's why people fucking leave you, even though you have a fucking willingness to get better, you have a fucking willingness to, go to therapy, you have a fucking willingness to be better for your fucking relationships, and you're just looking at everything and you're so confused because you're like, this makes no fucking sense. I should be a fucking catch. I should be somebody that somebody would want, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, the craving of validation and approval, that's really unattractive. I'm just gonna say it for what it is. I'm gonna call it out for what it is. But if you're genuinely confused, there's a good chance that if you look at the person's past, right, and how all of their other relationships have played out, that's when you're gonna hit the sweet spot and you're gonna be like, oh, It's not me. This is not a me problem. Am I perfect? No, I'm not. Of course I'm not perfect. But I'm doing everything that I can in this relationship. I have a willingness to get better. I have a willingness to go through therapy to improve myself, which then improves my relationships. I'm giving above 100% in this in this relationship. This is not a... Well, again, I could work on boundaries, right? Healthy boundaries are an absolute must. They're necessary. But this is not a me problem. I'm not bad. I'm not inherently defective. There's nothing... It's not that there's anything wrong with me. This is just the way that they are. And they may have said things to try to get me to believe that it is a me problem. Why? Because their shit is probably too painful for them to sit with. So what do they do with it? They project it onto me. They displace it onto me. They use me as an emotional punching bag to release all of their fucking pain. And all of that has led me to believe that I'm the reason that they would leave, or that I'm the reason that the relationship sucks, or that there's something that I need to do. But it's not a me problem. And again, I can become better as a person and therefore positively impact my relationship with them. That's fact, absolutely. And I could utilize more healthy boundaries, but what's really going on here is that this is a them. This is much more of a them thing and much less of a me thing. And I've been taking this so personal this whole time, but if I look at their behaviors, it's not that if they were with somebody else, they wouldn't be exhibiting those behaviors. They most definitely would. And then you look at their past and you're like, oh, okay. It is a them thing. It's not a me thing. Right? And so then you're like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, their relationships of the past exhibited the same thing. And that's it. Right? And it makes you put things into perspective more, because instead of blaming yourself, instead of looking at yourself and being like, I am still the inherently unworthy, defective, low-life piece of shit that I learned to believe that I was in childhood, and this is why people leave me. No. It's also another reason why you attract people that are like that. And again, when you look back at people's, call it a track record, right? When you look back at somebody's past and you know enough about how their relationships played out, it's likely that they're just doing the same fucking thing with you. And they're getting you to believe through things like fucking triangulation of bringing other people into the relationship. Why can't you be more like this person? Oh, if you were more like this person, maybe I'd love you more. Oh, if you made more money, maybe I'd love you more. It has nothing to do with you. Or, at the very least, it has a lot less to do with you than you think it does. Because they're just projecting all of their shit onto you, trying to get you to believe that it's your fault and that you're the problem and there's something wrong with you and that you're bad and you're inherently defective and you're the one that needs to change. I'm not going to say that you're not the one that needs to change, because I'm sure that there are things that you could do to improve yourself, which would improve your relationship. But, again, when you look back at their past, when you look back at all their relationships, you're like, oh. Wow. This is a you problem. It is. I'm willing to look at myself. I will. Absolutely. Period. And I will have the willingness always to do better, to be better as a person, for myself and for other people. But this is a you problem, and you're trying to get me to believe that it has something to do with me. But you look back at your life and everything shows. Everything shows.